the exciting conclusion of the Green Van radiator install transmission solenoid pack thread tapping saga. Yeah, that. I was gonna make this into a regular vlog and include some other stuff, but I decided I'll just keep this one short. I kind of go into some technical stuff about my thought process and some of the reasons I chose to do some of the things I did for making a repair on it. So if you don't like listening to me blab into a camera, maybe not the thing for you, but if you're interested in any sort of mechanical stuff at all, and maybe wonder why I make some of the decisions I do when I'm like repairing stuff, then yeah. This video is like 20 minutes long, so you can deal with it. It's fine. Trust me, you'll enjoy it. Here we go. I spilled coffee on my joystick. Hang on. I haven't been this messed up in a while. After working on the Green Van Thursday night, it's now Sunday morning. I am completely covered in bruises. All along here, both my arms, right here. I didn't have to get out of my van to do any of the work, or I didn't have to get out of my chair to do any of the work on the van, but I was leaning over on the front of the van, like on the radiator core support. I even had a towel on it, but apparently that wasn't enough to prevent whatever happened here from happening. And also my hands kind of, so this one doesn't look too bad, it healed up pretty quick, but there's a lot of bruising. Ooh, that looks like Skeletor's hand. Look at that. Anyways, I got it taken apart. It hasn't been put back together yet. I need to get a metric tap and try to repair the threads on one of the bolt holes for the transmission solenoid pack before I can put it back together. It's also been raining non-stop since then. Sometimes doing stuff yourself has consequences. We have acquiesced some bolt taps, or whatever. I got a couple different ones. Originally I wanted to use one of these double fluted ones because these, as you're tapping downwards, the double fluted ones will eject the taps. They will eject the chips upwards, and since we are tapping a blind hole, it'd be easier to not have the threads get gummed up in there. But then I realized this is a combination drill bit slash tap, and if you look really closely at it, you can see the tap, the cutting portion doesn't start till down here. So we have all of this amount here that has to go down into the hole, which actually kind of pre-drills it to the proper size before we get to the actual cutting portion of the tap. Now, that's potentially an issue because I don't know how deep this hole is. So, real quick, we are going to check the depth of that using this here thing, which are digital calipers. I actually don't even need to power them up. This particular model, actually all of them, have a depth gauge on here, and you can I just basically need to eyeball it and see how much depth we have. If you want to actually measure it, you can read the scale here manually. So let's check that out real quick. There's a convenient hole right here where the radiator used to be. So I can set the camera right here. Oh, looks like a bunch of transmission fluid leaked out. Awesome. We can just go ahead and fit this down in here and see what our depth is. As I suspected, there's not that much depth. We only have this much. So if we compare that with our tap here, so you can see that this portion here is all drill bit and we don't start tapping till we get down here. And the way these work is you have to be pretty much up to this level before it actually starts cutting. So if we use this one, we're only going to end up with about, let's see here, we're only going to end up with about this much of threads in there. And that's not completely tapped. The portion that would be completely tapped is only about this much, which, as you can see, is not very much of a bite. And I would like this not to pull out again, so I think what we're gonna have to do is just use the standard tap. This one, it's sort of tapered at the beginning, but we at least have a little bit more cutting depth, and it comes with a separate drill bit. So if we line these up, you can see that our cutting heads actually start, I don't know, probably 10 millimeters or something higher. There you go. So you can see it starts right here on this one, and that's where you get your maximum cutting depth, as opposed to all the way down here, which if I line these up would be about like this. So we're saving about this much depth. And in a blind hole that I don't know, well, I know it's on the other side, it's the inside of the transmission. If it was something else, I wouldn't mind making the hole a little bit deeper, and this would just drill down and be fine. But we're gonna do this, we're gonna have to do this in a two-step process. We're going from, oh, I can't remember what it was. It was a metric equivalent of quarter 28, which is 5.5? I don't remember. But we're going from fine thread to coarse thread, mostly because they didn't sell the quarter 28 bolts. They only had the quarter 20 bolts. And I figure if I can get a few more revolutions of the, well, I was going to say we have more holding force with coarse thread, but that may not be the case. Regardless, this does not take very much torque. So, actually, let me go grab the other bolt. This is our OE bolt, and the bolt itself isn't actually damaged. This apparently is a higher grade metal or stronger than the transmission. This is our aftermarket one. As you can see, it's a little bit longer, but that's okay. I can run a stack of washers on top of this so it doesn't bottom out. But if we check our actual overall diameter of this thing, roughly 6 millimeter, 5.95, and this one is 6.24 millimeters. So not too much bigger. I guess we just want to verify real quick that it will fit through our new part. I'm pretty sure it will. Oh yeah, we've got plenty of clearance. This is our new solenoid pack here. These are the bolt holes here on top. So the original ones are going to slide down in here like this, but as you can see, we've got quite a bit of play. So this fits in here with no problem whatsoever. I'll just have to run a stack of washers on top of it so that this depth doesn't go all the way down, because as you can see, it sticks out the bottom kind of a ways, and that's deeper than the hole we have in the transmission. So I think we're ready to get to tapping. The bruises on my chest have mostly healed. The color's gone away. It's still like, I get a stinging sensation if I touch over here, so I'm gonna have to get a pillow or something and put it on the front of the van. This is gonna be annoying. Hopefully it doesn't take very long. I did also get this extension. This one is only compatible with the double fluted tap, which we determined is not going to work. So I think what I'm gonna have to do is get a socket extension, because this is square drive. Find a socket that fits this and then just run a long extension with that, and we'll do it by hand. Okay, as it turns out, this 8mm 12-point socket or end wrench actually fits right on here. I've already gotten the thing lined up and ready to go. So all we need to do now is very carefully sink this down into the hole and start cutting our new threads. There we go. That was pretty easy. As you can see here, we've got some aluminum or whatever that metal is on the end of this thing. I'm going to clean out this hole with some compressed air, and then we'll get our new bolt and see if it fits. Okay, let's see if our new bolt threads in here. It goes in part way. Probably need to run the tap through there a couple more times. Well, we do have more clearance on this tap than we do the other one. We're still bottoming out before we can get the hole cut deep enough. So I've got the little miniature grinder right here, and I'm going to take off a little bit of the nose of this thing. The first part of it is just used for centering anyways, and I only got this tap for the specific job. I'm not too worried about cutting it down. It may make it a little bit less usable in the future for other things, but I need to get this thing fixed. And success. We now have a bolt that goes in there and it fits, and it seems fairly solid. So I think we're going to be ready for final prep on this and installing the solenoid pack. I'm gonna get this thing cleaned up here again since we got a whole bunch more grease and schmoo down in there from it sitting for a few days. Okay, success. Now, last thing I need to do before installation is figure out a stack height for washers or spacers or something on here. I was thinking at first it was enough that I could use a nut as a spacer, but, well, actually maybe I can. Let's see here. Yeah, actually, a nut just sitting on there is perfect. And there's room for just one single washer, and we'll have the proper height. Awesome. There we go. Perfect match. Sweet. Well, glad I was paying attention. So you always want to compare old and new parts before you reinstall things. I got to looking at... Hang on a second here, too much stuff in my lap. I got to looking at this new solenoid pack, and I fit the gasket on here, and I was like, wait a second, these locating dowels seem like they're a little bit high. So I went and looked at the van. Turns out there's only recesses cut in the transmission mating surface for these two, not this one. And I was like, that's really strange. So, easy solution, or easy verification, just look at the old one. And as you can see here, we've got locating pin, transmission fluid on my lap, and no locating pin. It's, there isn't one over here. So, yeah, you can just grab these with a pair of pliers and pull them out of there, so I'm glad I checked. That would have caused a problem. These things are sort of a spring-loaded insert, so they're super easy to remove. You just grab them with a pair of pliers, squeeze them, and then gently wiggle it out of there. And luckily the whole thing's covered in assembly oil, so nothing's frozen up. And there we go. Our standoff is now removed, and our original part, yeah, see how these are sort of like spring-loaded roll pins. But yeah, now our old and new parts match, and we're ready for reassembly. Finally, after almost a week. All right, I do believe we have a solenoid pack installed. You can see our little spacers there on the back. There's our stock bolts on the left and right. And it seems to be good and solid. So now all we need to do is use this and change out our two speed sensors. And we'll be ready to test it. Well, after putting the radiator back in, obviously. Man, we're having to break out the big wrenches for this. This is a 1 1/8. This bottom sensor here is, yeah, there we go. 1 1/8 inch. That's kind of insane. Giant wrench. Okay, I need 2 hands for this. So it's a pretty good thing that the radiator's out of here and the battery. Trying to fit giant wrenches like this in here is not the easiest thing in the world. And having as much space as possible makes a huge difference. Here we go. That's our output speed sensor. Oh wait. Is it? This one looks a lot different. And it goes a lot deeper. Maybe we'll just leave this one in there. Yeah, this is like a spring-loaded thing. Oh wait. I think it's over here, not this. This is a pressure switch. Whoops. We'll put that back in. Glad I didn't destructively remove that. We've got another one over here. I think that's the one we actually need to remove. Whoops. I'm new, so it's not that one. It's not that one. It's this one, hiding right up here under the battery tray. Yeah. Well, looky here. There's a radiator. It's just sitting in place at the moment. It actually tucks back up underneath here. But what we have to do first is get the AC condenser reattached to it with some random bolts and brackets. I'm not 100% sure where they are. Here we go. Yeah. Oh. Well, that's dumb. I thought they were Torx. They're actually like 10 millimeter. Oh, that was a waste of energy the other day. So this is supposed to go in here, but as you can see, there's nothing to attach it. Yes, we have to take the clips off the old radiator. Hopefully they're not too rusted. Okay, I need pliers to do that. Turns out you have to use a hook to remove them. There's a little latch inside there. Should be able to just slide this on here. I'm gonna take that back off and squeeze it with some pliers. That's a little bit sloppy. There we go, much better. Okay, we are getting wiry close to being done here. The radiator is all mounted except for right here. I lost one of the clips, but that's okay. There's some other brackets that hold this corner in, so it's not going anywhere, at least until I can get a replacement. I'm about to run the tranny cooler lines, and once I get these run, I think we're going to be ready to fill it with coolant and fire it up. What I'm going to go ahead and do here for this other radiator mount, I just got a giant fender washer and a nut that will thread onto this bolt, and we're just going to stick that on there. It'll be somewhat annoying because you have to reach inside the core support to hold this nut while you tighten it down, but that's fine. I'll just have to remember that. I'm not planning on removing the radiator anytime soon, but whatever, it'll at least hold it in place. Since the AC condenser is in fact mounted to it, it's good to have all the hardware attached so nothing's jiggling. Okay, that was extremely lucky. I was down inside the core support and I found a piece of the actual tab nut, so this actually makes life a lot easier. I'm just going to get some needle nose pliers here, and then I'll be able to reach down inside the frame rail and hold this in place. Actually, miniature stork nose pliers will be perfect. And then we'll be able to get this piece put back in there. Apparently it pays to look in the box. The radiator actually came with all new hardware. The little clips I was missing, the rubber bumpers, the part that it mounts to on the bottom of the core support. Oh well, guess we have extras now. Alright, well, we're in the leak checking stage now. Got it running and making sure our hoses and stuff are sealed up the way they should be. And I don't see transmission fluid floating around. That's a drain pan under there. But, yeah. Oh, guess I should probably put the grill back on. Well, I just went and drove the thing, and seems to be running fine. Transmission shifting, no coolant leaks or anything. I don't see any transmission fluid leaks, so that's a bonus. We'll probably have to give that a few days though to verify for sure. So I started that repair Thursday, and we just finished it. It is, come on, notifications. It is Monday at about 7:30 p.m. So not too bad, I guess. I have the feeling though that, I mean, while I wasn't leaning on my chest again doing some repairs, I might have been a little bit, so we'll see what tomorrow and the next few days are like. But at least it's working, and I think our transmission leak is taken care of. I haven't seen it leaking yet, so if nothing else, that, like, if it doesn't fix anything else, that is still a good thing, because it was leaking a fairly significant amount. But yeah, anyways, there you go. So the real question is, now that the van is running, can I go buy chicken nuggets in it? You obviously have to test it by making an inaugural chicken nugget acquisition run. So, hopefully. Well, it runs. It's a bonus. Now, the main thing I'm interested in is, well, mostly if the transmission leak is gone. And then secondly, will the torque converter stay locked up? This is an adaptive transmission, so it's going to take a while of driving around before it relearns how to do all the shifting and stuff properly. So it's shifting a little bit soft right now, but that's all software. Once it learns your driving style, it will start firming up. Nothing like a 20 piece at 10 o'clock at night. There you go. Van seems to be working. Finished fixing it last night. Drove it around a little bit today. It's been raining like crazy, which is actually really helpful because the stores that I went into, I just left the van idling. And when I came back out, since the ground is completely wet, it's real easy to look for transmission leaks because there'd be little rainbows underneath the van. Haven't seen any, so hopefully we're good. It seems like anytime I try to fix fluid leaks on vehicles, it never seems to work out. Of course, I'm also usually driving around like $1,200 vehicles or cheaper. But anyways, there you go. Got a whole bunch more stuff coming up. I still have a bunch of footage that I haven't used from like the last month. And I know I usually jinx myself when I say I'm going to do a project out loud, but two things that are upcoming. This week we are going to be doing a video for how to install RGB lighting on a Quantum 4 front wheelchair, which this will apply to any Quantum wheelchair that has the new fender lights that come free. We're going to be able to use the stock wiring on that. We'll just have to add a few parts, no big deal. Going to be an easy project. And then also we're going to build a remote controlled shopping cart because I have a shopping cart over here and I have a couple of hub motors that are small. And RC shopping carts are cool. Like, seriously. Anyways, I'll catch you guys soon.